Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Trending Thursday. My name is Glenn Tompkins, Senior Instructor here at VectorVest. Always my pleasure to be here. My favorite day of the week. If you can hear me, by all means, please respond in the affirmative, preferably with VV Nation, to let me know that I am coming across loud and clear and that there's no problems with the audio. In the background, I have Joey. He is my producer. Say hi, Joey.
Hi, Joey.
He's always in the background. He never wants to come up to the forefront so everybody can see him, but that's all right. That's all right. He does a really good job of making sure everything is good to go. Once again, thank you for being here. If you're brand new, thank you for showing up. And if you like the content and if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. If you want to wait until the end of the presentation to do that as well. And if you like what you hear today, don't forget to hit the like button. Let me know what you think, if you like it or not, and of course, put your comments in. I will try to do the best that I can to answer as many of the questions that come up as possible. And I'm going to set the stage already. Do not put individual stocks in yet. All right, I will give you an opportunity at the end of the presentation to look at your own individual stocks. So don't put them in yet. And that saves the space so that I can find questions a lot quicker, all right? So it's going to help you, and it's going to help me. We're going to scratch each other's back. So am I playing hooky from the Jockey Club? No, William, I'll be there tomorrow. I'll be there on Friday for our Jockey Club. For those of you who are new, we have a day trading room in the VectorVest software that gives us an opportunity to do some day trades for about an hour and a half in the market. All right, a little bit about myself. Again, I am a senior instructor here at VectorVest. Been here now almost 17 years helping people to make better decisions in the market. I will tell you this, no matter what videos I ever put out, I have a vested interest in all of the people that I talk to. Why? Because as a VectorVest company, we thrive off of subscriptions. My job is to make sure that you understand what's going on, and I'm not always going to tell you what you want to hear, but I will always tell you what you need to know. And again, if that's what you're here for, you're in the right place. I am not going to prop up any stock because anybody is pushing it or taunting about it or putting it out there that it's time for you to go buy it and all that kind of stuff. You need to make a decision for you, and I will analyze things like the market in individual stocks in the stories that I present for you to help you make your own decision. That's what it's all about. It's not my own agenda. I want that to be known as well. All right. So as we get into the analysis today, we always start off with the market. Why? Because the market's direction affects about 80% of the 80% of the stocks in the market. Market direction is always key in knowing whether or not it's okay to be in stocks or not. So we always analyze the market. We analyze what things are moving the market. For those of you who are brand new to the market, there's three things that move markets globally: earnings, interest, and inflation. Those are the three things that move markets around the world, and we concentrate on those when we get into the market overview. So as we get into the market overview, this is the home page of the VectorVest software. If you're not a subscriber to the VectorVest software, well, we'll give you an opportunity to take advantage of that if you wish to do so. Okay, this is the home page. We always say that it's set up just like the home page or the front page of your local newspaper, where market timing is always front and center. Every day we give guidance on what you should be doing as an investor in the market. That guidance you need to heed because, like today, coming from last night, VectorVest advocates caution when buying stocks at this time. This should be used to help to temper what you're currently doing in the market. Does that mean you go full bore and put all your money in the market? The answer to that is no. On a day like today, do you sell out of your positions just because they're going down? The answer to that is no. But if nothing else, learn to take some defensive action on the stocks that you've made money on. Never give back more than half of what you've made, but the market's direction is going to aid you in the ability to effectively do that and do it in a timely fashion. So the guidance again is VectorVest advocates caution. At this time, I'm not going to get really deep into our color guard. Those people who are subscribers to the software understand how the color guard works. You want to use it like a traffic light. If we look at all of the indices today, they are all down. There was a lot of buzz about certain stocks that were going to be on the move today, preferably or more especially in the marijuana space. We're going to talk about that. If you didn't see, I put out 2 videos so far today on a stock of interest, and if you haven't already done so, please do so. All of the videos are recorded and they're here on the YouTube channel for you to take advantage of. But the stock, we're going to talk about that stock in today's presentation as well. And I will put out one more video after this segment today on Trending Thursday for a closing remarks on that stock. All of the major indices are down. What does that mean? We have a down day. It's tough to buy stocks when the market is moving down, keeping in mind, again, that 80% of the stocks within the market tend to move with the day's direction of the market. Well, then that tells me that there's about 20% of stocks that are moving up. Do you want to spend your energy trying to find those stocks, or do you want to learn to go with the trend? Let the trend be your friend, and you should always invest or trade with the trend of the market. All right, so that's where we stand right now, right? In regards to what's going on today, what the guidance is right now for our VectorVest subscribers. Now, let's talk about the things behind the scenes that are moving the market in the direction of which it is. So I'm going to open up to my first story, and my first story pretty much is going to start talking about what the Fed is doing, what's going on in the market on the back end. Remember, the Fed's job is to do 2 things, and it's pretty much to make sure that interest rates are low or high if we need to slow down an economy, or low to spur an economy. And they also look at jobs, making sure that we're fully invested in the job market. And there is a third thing. The Fed's job is also to look at inflation. And because of the pandemic, the Fed has given a wider spectrum on what they feel is okay for inflation. But at some point in time, if the market keeps moving the way that it is right now, prices will rise. And if prices rise because more money, people have more money to spend, or the economy is bolstering up, then inflation will become an issue. And what is the Fed going to have to do at that point in time to slow down a hot economy? They're going to raise rates. So we're going to talk about that too. Job openings pick up in the pandemic resilient industries. Help wanted ads return to pre-pandemic levels last month as businesses seek to fill jobs, according to the job search site Indeed. A lot of people out there still looking for jobs because many people got laid off during the pandemic because a lot of businesses shut down. But people are now looking for jobs. Now, it's interesting as you look around, I think a lot of people are not accepting some of the jobs because they're not at the same level of the amount of money that they were making prior to the pandemic. But jobs are out there. People are trying to find people to get involved with jobs. So jobs are picking up. I hate to always or any time talk about politics in this room, but there's a story. The Democrats plan to offer $1,400 stimulus checks at the same level incomes as previous rounds. There was buzz, there was scuttlebutt. I'm a Marine, so that's a terminology that we use in the Marine Corps. There was scuttlebutt about, well, a lot less people were going to be eligible for the stimulus based on the money that they made. But the plan that I see from this story says that depending on where you go, proposals heads for the Ways and Means Committee, there's a vote with income cutoff starting at $75,000 to $150,000, which was the prior level for the people who did receive stimulus checks. So that has not changed. The news is here to tell you that. And you know something? I think it's important that instead of getting information from all over the place, that you get what you need to know to make the right decisions. And now when we start to talk about interest rates, remember, that's important. Fed Chair Powell says rates will stay low for a while, citing bleak jobs picture. So now these two stories, this was on February 10th, and this story on the jobs was on February 9th. Interesting, the dichotomy between the two. They don't seem to be both in line at this time, but the Fed chair still says that right now rates will stay low for a while. I am putting out, and very few times do I ever give my own opinion. I like to stay rooted and grounded in the VectorVest software. But I still want to say, if the market is rising the way that it is, we're still hitting all-time highs on all of the major indices, to include the VectorVest composite. If that happens, inflation and interest rates will have to rise at some point in time, or else the market will just keep going, and then you don't want it to get out of control. So he says that the rates will stay low for a while. Despite an unemployment rate that has fallen to 6.3%, Fed Chair Jerome Powell said the employment picture is a long way from where it needs to be. Powell noted that the actual unemployment rate is probably closer to 10%. That's a big number, from 6.3 to 10%, and said that the Fed needs to stay focused on its broad and inclusive employment goal. All right, so jobs could be a problem, may not be a problem. Nonetheless, the Fed is saying that they're going to keep interest rates low for a while, and all I'm saying that if the market continues to rise, something is going to have to be done with rates, and I think it may happen earlier than he anticipates. And last but not least, from the Fed's perspective, let's talk about, again, interest rates. Fed Messer says central bank support. So the Fed looking at interest rates, but the central bank support will remain in place for a long time. The Federal Reserve Bank of Cleveland President Loretta Mester said she sees no imminent pullback in central bank support as the economy recovers from the coronavirus pandemic. So two stories on the interest rates. All I'm putting out there is, at some point in time, if the market stays hot the way that it is, prices will rise, and inflation will become an issue, and then to stave off a booming or thriving economy, to keep it from getting out of control, the Fed has the wherewithal to raise interest rates. But you know, the other side of that is, I don't think Powell wants to be that guy that puts us into a recession. If you start to raise the interest rates, the market's going to feel it. So that's my opinion in regards to the stories. And again, I don't always do that, but I think that it's important to at least put that out there to give you a perspective of where we stand and how this will play out for you. All right, so now I'm going to get back into the software. Let's look at the two stocks that we look at for tracking the market. I'm going to go to our viewers tab. I'm going to go to our watch list viewer. Every week, I create a watch list for the stocks that we'll pay attention to for that week's Trending Thursday. I'm going to go find YouTube Trending Thursday. Let's go down to 2/1. Did I do that? Well, 2/11/2021. There we go. Today we're going to cover about 17 stocks, two of them which we're going to cover now, which are the stocks for the market. So if you're a VectorVest subscriber, we have an indicator called the VVC, or the VectorVest Composite, which tracks the movement of over 8,500 stocks in one ticker symbol. And then if you're not a subscriber and you still want to be able to effectively track what's going on in the market, most people look at the spiders or the S&P 500. So I'm going to highlight that one as well. These are the two stocks based upon the information that we've now just reported on from a news perspective. Let's see how that's affecting the market. I'm going to right-click those two, and I'm going to view the stock graph. Over the last year, look at the market. That is the market. We're starting off with the VVC, which looks again at the movement of 8,500 stocks. Why do we use that over the Dow or the S&P or the NASDAQ? Because that's 8,500 stocks. All right, that's 8,500 stocks just coming off a new, fresh, all-time high yesterday, pulling back today, actually moving a tad bit sideways for 2 days in a row. All right, that's not a bad thing, but what does that mean for you now? If you're currently in stocks, tighten the stops on the stocks. Be a little bit defensive, and we've had a great opportunity to make money in the market since COVID-19 last March, and we're coming up on 1 year of the pandemic. But look at the move after the market fell. It got depressed, but look at the run and everything that was going on throughout this whole time. So all I'm saying is right now, with the market starting to move sideways and with the guidance that we've given, just take a little bit of defensive measures on your stocks. Tighten your stops. Don't be afraid to take half off of the table right now, lock in those profits, all right? And the other indicator is the S&P 500. Looks just the same. Notice that I have a moving average on the graph. It is an exponential 20-day moving average. As long as it stays above that moving average, we're trending. When it stays below, we're trending to the downside. So keeping all of that in mind, it's okay to still be in the market. I'm not going to say that it's okay to put on new stocks today. Notice that even on the S&P 500 down 2 days in a row, be careful about adding new positions, but definitely be defensive on some of your existing positions right now. And again, folks, this is the information that you need to know to be a better investor in the market. And what is the name of the game? The name of the game is to make money. And if you're having an opportunity to take some profits off the table, do so. Now, I'll always hear this. Well, I know I'll take some off the table and the market bounces back up and runs again. All right, that's fine. Did you accomplish your goal of making money? And if the answer is yes, then you did what you wanted to do, right? Can you find a better opportunity or another opportunity to buy back in? Sure you can. But don't leave your earnings, your gains out there to just be taken back away. So just keep that in mind. All right, so as I look, I'm trying to see if there's any questions that are out there that you have in regards to my story on the market. It doesn't look anything. And John says, thank you for your service, Glenn. No problem. I appreciate that. A year ago, the unemployment rate was around 3%. I say it's over 10. There's a move. There is a move. And I'm not going to feed into why. All I'm saying is the news is the news. The unemployment rate is higher than it was about a year ago. All right. If there's no questions on the market side of the story, I'm going to go to my next story. All right. So that's the market. My next story deals with another hot industry, which is cryptocurrency. Big story this week. Tesla buys $1.5 billion in Bitcoin, plans to accept it as payment. Now, we all know that Elon Musk is an influencer. We all know that, who's the owner of the Mavericks? Mark Cuban is on the board with Bitcoin as well. I want you to just pay attention to that there are influencers, and sometimes those influencers will influence your ability to want to think about buying into a stock. So you know me, I'm all about taking a deeper dive than just what's on the surface on what other people say. You've heard me say it on more than one occasion. I still think that cryptocurrency is a speculative play, and I'll explain why as I analyze the cryptocurrency. But is it presenting you with an opportunity to make money? The answer to that is yes. And is the background behind cryptocurrency getting better? The answer to that question is yes as well. And again, we will talk about that. But that's big. That was big story. Tesla announced an SEC filing Monday that has bought $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. That's a lot, all right? That's a lot out there, and it moved Bitcoin. I'm going to hear a lot about Dogecoin. We don't track it in the VectorVest software, but I am doing some research on it, and I will come up with a story, probably do an individual video on Dogecoin. I just won't be able to analyze it because it will not be put into the VectorVest software. Another stock within this space, of course, we know is Riot. All right, if I scroll down, Riot Blockchain stock climbs as new miners boost hash rate. And that was on, what's today? That was today. All right, Riot Blockchain. Now, I couldn't find a new story on its counterpart, Mara. Both of these are bit miners. All right, but I did a story last week on Mara, on Marathon Patent, in that they were investing a lot of money into bit rigs, the machines that they use to mine the Bitcoin, and Riot is the same thing. And as of today, it jumped 14% pre-market, trading after announcing it will achieve an estimated hash rate capacity of 1.06 exahash per second with a deployment of newly received 2002 S19 Pro Ant miners. So I'm going to click on this real quick. I didn't even read that. Where did it go? Riot Chain achieves milestone of 1 EH in hash rate capacity. I'm thinking that's good. All right, without reading more into it, I'm thinking that that's really good. If anybody out there understands, and let me tell you something, I don't profess to know everything about anything in the market. I only give you what the VectorVest software says, but if anybody's out there, yeah, I know Paul. Paul says, please translate that. If there's anybody out there who has a better understanding of what that means, please type it in the room. I'm curious to know as well. But I am reporting the story nonetheless. And I guess that from that statistic, that it is a good thing for Riot, thus bolstering it up as we go along. And Paul, if need be, I'll do some research, and maybe next week I'll have some better information for you. All right, how about that? All right, so those are my stories on cryptocurrency. I'm going to show you the stocks that I have for that space. Yeah, notice that, and this is for the benefit of the new people in the room. When I put these stocks into the list, they're automatically sorted by our master indicator, and that master indicator is VST, or value, safety, and timing. All right. Paul, he does. He knows a lot about that stuff. And again, I'll get up to speed in regards to that. You'll notice that all of these stocks are sorted by our master indicator VST, which stands for value, safety, and timing. The stocks that have the best combination of value and safety and timing will automatically populate to the top of the list. So the hottest stock in here by VST is Tesla. I've got a couple of extra stocks in here for cryptocurrency. One is Block. I like that as an all-inclusive ETF. All right, as an all-inclusive ETF, which looks at all of the stocks in that space. Mara and Riot are also at the top of the list by that VST. So even though I call it more of a speculative play, it is definitely coming into its own. Two other stocks that I want to talk about in here are JP Morgan, and Bank of New York just came out with a story this week that they are investing heavily into Bitcoin, into the banking system for them. JP Morgan, I already did a story on them a couple of weeks ago stating the same thing. So remember way back in the day where Bitcoin was a joke? You say Bitcoin, you go, you really getting into that? Right now, Bitcoin is showing its weight in that it is a force to be reckoned with, and it is at least sitting at the table with the big boys as something to consider buying. All right, so let's analyze a couple of these stocks. First off, we have the price of the stock right now trading at $38.17. It's got a value of $6.75. The stock is considered to be overbought or overvalued. Many of you will say, well, what is value? Value is what we feel the stock is currently worth based on earnings, earnings per share, earnings growth rate. A lot of different things are in the calculation for value. So why is the stock trading so much higher than its value? Because people see potential in Bitcoin. They're willing to pay a premium to own it. The same thing for Riot, trading at $44.56 with a value of $1.89. People see the value behind getting into Bitcoin, driving the stock's price much higher than its value. JP Morgan, a bank, trading at $138, value of $96. Bank of New York, a bank trading at 42 with a value of 40. These two are a little closer in range than the blockchain stocks themselves. But these two are in this list for cryptocurrency because they are introducing a lot more cryptocurrency into their banking systems. Now let's analyze them with the VectorVest indicators. Mara, relative value. Relative value looks at a stock's long-term price appreciation potential. This helps you to know that for the long term, over the next 1 to 3 years, do you want to own this stock and hold it? With a value below 1, it says that long-term, this stock may not do what you want it to do, all right? It will not outpursue or outperform a AAA corporate bond. On Riot at 0.39, even lower than it was for Mara. So long term, I'm still saying to myself, be careful. When I look at JP Morgan Chase with a relative value of 0.81, same kind of scenario, below 1, and Bank of New York at 0.89. Banks are getting a little hit as overall. Let's go look at the relative safety. This is an indicator of risk. Below the value of 1, the stock has a lower probability of meeting or exceeding its earnings expectations. So Mara's got a relative safety at 0.76, a little riskier of a stock. Riot at 0.82, a little riskier of a stock. Notice that JP Morgan Chase, though, has got a relative safety above 1. This stock will tend to meet or exceed its earnings expectations. It makes it a little less risky of a play. And Bank of New York below 1, also telling you it's a little risky. Those two indicators, RV and RS, are our fundamental indicators, where RT is our technical indicator, letting us know if the stock is in an uptrend or not. Above the value of 1, the stock is in an uptrend. The higher above the value of 1 to the level of 2, the stock is full bore go. So I see that Mara's fundamentals are not there, but the stock is moving. The buzz behind it is moving. The influencers behind it are making it move, and it's coming into its own merit. So it is more of a technical or speculative play. Same thing with blockchain, also at the value of 2, it is full bore go. Look at JP Morgan Chase, above the value of 1. The bank right now, with that news of possibly with the cryptocurrency, could be pushing it higher. And Bank of New York, not nearly as fast as the other stocks, but definitely moving. You notice that I didn't do anything with value, RV, and RS on block. Why? Because it's an ETF or an exchange-traded fund that looks at a lot of stocks in that industry as one. But what's important here is that it is moving very fast. That whole industry is on the rise. So let's take a deeper look at these by looking at their graphs. So you understand from an analysis standpoint, I still feel that it's a more speculative trade, but I am taking note. All right, let's go look at the stock graph. I'm going to put this on a 3-month graph. A lot of people ask me, why do you look at 3 months? I look at 3 months because what happens every quarter on a stock? Earnings. I want to have the earnings picture. I want to have the earnings play in the picture because earnings is the biggest mover of a stock's price. Block, look at its move. I have a 20-day exponential moving average. I love that the ETF is rocking and rolling above the value of that 20-day exponential moving average. Watch over the last 3 days, though. The industry or the ETF is moving sideways. If you own it, just be careful. But overall, on an end-of-day basis, it looks great. Volume is rising. As it's moving sideways, it makes sense that volume falls because it's not moving up, it's not moving down, it's moving sideways. But even with today's activity on a closed green candle, we're still trading above its average volume, which I have a 20-day simple moving average on volume. Let's go to the next stock. Mara looks the same. Now, a little bit of a doji action going on with Mara today, which is the small body. Notice the open and close price are very close to each other, only off by about 6 cents, 4 to 6 cents. That means that there's indecision going on in today's activity, but even with that, hit an all-time new high. Block seems extended. Do you wait for the pullback to get in? Absolutely. And the same thing I would say about Mara. The stock has moved. If I'm thinking about getting in now, I'm always going to say, wait till the stock takes out the most recent high. Why? Because you're going to be buying into a rising stock. Always try to buy into a rising stock and not into a falling stock, because at that point, you're trying to catch a falling knife. I don't think we feel really good when we try to catch that falling knife. And if the knife continues to fall, the cut gets deeper. Do you really want to do that? Why not put the probabilities on your side, but buying into a stock as it's rising? All right, and the last stock that we're going to get into Riot. Riot, same thing, above the 20-day exponential moving average, hitting an all-time high today. I like the open candle. I would go and make sure I get my order in higher than the high. Love the volume on it, still above the average volume. And then my two banks, JP Morgan, nicely moved up for a while, pulled back down below that 20-day exponential moving average. You know what I like about that? That's a good opportunity to get out of the stock. Get out of the stock, wait for another buying opportunity. Guess what? I'm still buying lower than the high. What's the goal? Buy low, sell high. I'm still locking in profits. Okay, and I'm going to wait and buy lower than the high and hopefully ride it up. But right now, JP Morgan Chase is moving sideways for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Earnings per share on the stock is still rising. I like that. It is currently trading below its average volume. Just be careful with that. And last but not least, I like BK, Bank of New York, a little bit better than JP Morgan. Do I really? The earnings per share looks good. $9.35 on a 138 stock. And right here, I've got $4 on a $42 stock. That's not so bad as well. But right there, trading right at that level of the 20-day exponential moving average. Moving averages are best used when it's trending up or trending down, not when it's moving sideways. So again, notice that a lot of the stocks, even in this hot industry, a couple of them are showing you some sideways moves. Don't be afraid to be a little defensive on those stocks. All right, let me go back to Riot. Love and this is what I do like about the crypto industry. Earnings per share higher than it was 3 months ago on Mara. That means that they're making money. So it's not just a lot of chit chat. They are making money. Earnings per share is at 24 cents. Keep in mind, our earnings per share is forecasted. So we're saying a year from now, Mara should be making 24 cents. And Riot, the earnings per share is just below 1, but still higher than it was 3 months ago. They're making less. They're making better than what they were making before. All right. And there we go. All right. Any questions in regards to, say again? All right. Block seems extended. Do you wait for the pullback? The answer to that is yes. Paul says, agree, you're too late to the party. Getting in now. I've learned to scale in, reduces the risk. Okay. How to trade VV hot stock picks. Again, Tommy, I'm not going to do that in this presentation today because I've already got set number of stocks that I'm looking at. Rob says, NVIDIA chips used in cryptocurrency mining, high-end computing equipment. Stock is moving pre-earnings. VectorVest stats look interesting. Just in regards to that, Rob H., chips are in high demand right now. I'm going to tell you, you probably want, and it's not stories that I'm talking about today, but I am going to put out there, you probably want to look at NVIDIA and AMD from a chip perspective. All right, crypto is really volatile and can change quickly. William, that's why you manage the trades. And that's why looking at a graph is so important. All right, before I get into the next story, so far, if you're liking what you're hearing, hit the subscribe button. If you like what you're hearing, hit the like button. All right, again, my goal is to not always have to be here to tell you what you want to hear, but I will tell you what you need to hear to make better decisions in what's going on. Why OTC stocks not on VectorVest? We do track them. We track over-the-counter or NASDAQ stocks. All right, they're loaded. They're in the system as an exchange. For OTC or over-the-counter. We do track them. All right. If there's no other questions, let's get to the next story. All right. My next story is strictly on clean energy. Clean energy, we're trying to reduce our carbon footprint. The current administration that we're in is big time on that. Clean energy, this could be its time. Now, clean energy was moving way back in July, where we started talking about it here on Trending Thursday, but it is really coming into its own. And if you're not in clean energy, you probably seriously want to consider it. Here's a story here. It's a little dated, but I think it's important. Solar energy to become the cheapest form of U.S. power by 2030. Well, how many years is that? It's 9 years from now? 9 years from now, folks, we're saying that solar may be the cheapest form of energy in the United States. If that is not enough to start to at least get you thinking about getting into solar, I don't know what else is. But when I talk about clean energy, a lot of times the stories center around electric vehicles like Tesla and NIO and XPeng and all of those stocks, because those are the news. Those are the stocks that are hitting the news on the clean energy side. But I don't want us to forget there's other industries and other stocks within that industry like solar, like water, like wind. All of these fall under the same umbrella as clean energy, and they're all stocks to keep in mind. So with this story about solar to become, a cheap form of energy by 2030, here's another one. China's autos. Did I jump the gun? No, this is also in clean energy. Yeah, right. China's auto sales surged 30% January, 10th straight month of gain. And the story that I wanted to get out of that, just as we're moving from solar, is to go to NIO. NEV makers such as homegrown NIO, Inc. and XPeng, two companies that are in China, and Tesla most recently is starting to put or sell more of their cars in the China market. But with that being said, I think NIO and XPeng have a little bit of a heads up or a leg up because they are in that country. Tesla is still putting out the car, and I think that Tesla is still the big boy that everybody's going after. But NIO and XPeng are starting to try to give Tesla a run for the money. And they're expanding manufacturing capacity in China, where the government has promoted greener vehicles to reduce air pollution. China's got more people than anybody. And if they're getting on board with trying to have a greener footprint on the planet, all of these EV companies are going to go after trying to get that business in China. Just keep that in mind. All right. And one other story in this space, we're going to go over to the world of hydrogen. Hydrogen and battery innovation, decarbonizing heavy transport. Now, there's another stock. I'm going to go down. I want to read all of that stuff. I want to get specifically down to the potential for hydrogen and fuel cells in industrial, transportation, and stationary power applications is promising. Big trucks utilizing hydrogen energy. In industrial use, it could help decarbonize major industries such as steel. In transportation, it could power a variety of trucks, buses, marine, rail, and aircraft. Interesting, right? Every major city has a transportation system. Buses, light rail, trains, all of those different things. And a company like, let's go down to where I'm going to get to, a company like, where did I go to? Man, I went down too far. Well, the company that I'm looking for specifically is Plug. Plug is a major stock in this industry. Yeah, I probably passed it. But Plug is in this industry with hydrogen power. Sigh. That's my voice emoji. Sigh. It's in here. It's further down the list. But this story was specifically for my Plug stock. A lot of people ask me, there it is. The potential of hydrogen fuels I was already there. Volvo, for example, envisions fuel cell electric vehicles. I saw an advertisement for that as an ideal demanding long-haul trucking. Ballard Power Systems and Plug Power appear to be the technology leaders globally on hydrogen fuel cells. Plug is a great play for here. Is clean energy growing outside of the U.S. as well? And yes, it absolutely is. Clean energy right now looks to be on the agenda of countries across the globe. All right, so the answer to your question is absolutely yes. But this was specifically going to be a story on Plug. So let's get into my watch list again. And so what were my clean energy stocks? Tesla was in that list. JK Solar, well, solar being so inexpensive, I chose to use JK Solar for that story. Plug, NEO, and that should be it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and iClean. iClean, you know me, I still am a big fan of, if you can, find an ETF that tracks an industry. So just like we just did it for crypto stocks, Block was the ETF that tracks the whole industry. In the clean energy space, it's iClean or ICLN, which tracks the whole space. So at the top of the list by our master indicator, VST, Tesla is the big boy. It really is. There's no ifs, no ands, no buts about it. Everybody is chasing Tesla with the batteries. All right, so it's trading at 807, value of 163, just by way of me saying how innovative they are with the battery power. That's why there's such a big difference between price and value. People are willing to pay that $800 price tag on a stock that's valued at $163. iClean ETF, so I'm not going to look at the value there. Jinko Solar, I like it for a couple of reasons. One is because it's in the space, but two, the stock is undervalued. That seems to be a hard thing to come by right now, finding stocks that are undervalued. The stock is valued at 103 with a price of 64. I really like it for that reason. Our mantra is also to have you in safe, undervalued stocks that are rising in price in a rising market. Power. Plug, trading at 63 with a value of 364. Again, just by the mere understanding of hydrogen power and that it is a leader in the industry for hydrogen power, people are willing to pay a premium to own it. NEO, going after Tesla. NEO is in China creating its electric vehicles with a value of 626, but again, the buzz behind it, the innovation behind it, the potential behind it is trading at $60. It's trading over its value. So those are my stocks. Let's go look at the VectorVest indicators. Tesla Motors, great upside potential. This stock is one of the best stocks in this list for upside potential as compared to a AAA corporate bond. Jinko Solar, even better than Tesla as upside potential. I really like Jinko Solar in that space. It is a leader in the solar space. Is it the only stock in the solar space? The answer to that is no, but I do like it in that space. Plug, wow, upside potential not there yet, but I'm thinking that the hydrogen, the whole hydrogen story is not really caught on yet, so the relative value there is not nearly as good. NEO relative value below 1, not there yet either. Looking at a safety factor, Tesla not only it's got a good upside potential, but it is a safe stock. It really is a safe stock. Let's go down to Jinko Solar. Not only does it have the best RV in the list, it is also a safe stock, whereas Plug and NEO are not at this time. But I will tell you this, because of the hotness of the industry, all of these relative timings are nicely above the value of 1, telling me that these stocks, all of them, are in uptrends. So we're going to leave it there. So we analyze the stocks. I like them all. Plug and Power, by way of the fundamental analysis, I'm not saying that it's a long-term hold yet. And something tells me it will come into its own, but it's not a long-term play yet. I'm feeling that those two are definitely more trades because the fundamentals on them are not good. Does that give you an opportunity to make money? Absolutely. Why is JKS listed as a hold, not a buy? Just because the stock is undervalued doesn't mean that it has to be a buy recommendation. There's a few different characteristics needed for a stock to hit a buy. And as you become a subscriber to the VectorVest software, we will teach you what it takes for a stock to get a buy recommendation in the VectorVest software. All right, let's right click. Let's go view the stock graph. There it is. There's Tesla. And put this again on a 3-month graph. There's Tesla. And a lot of the graphs that I look at, I have a layout as this comes up. I do have a layout, and I don't. Why is this on pre-market? Let me do something here. Let's go back to my list. Let's take off, use extended hours. There we go. All right, so now as I look at Tesla, what is this? Intraday 5 minutes. Let's go put this onto a 3-month graph. There's Tesla. We're going to have Tesla. Here we go again. All right, we're going to bring Tesla up. And again, the whole idea is, why do I look at a 3-month graph? Because every quarter or every 3 months, earnings pops up. So let's go my layout. Let's go look at my layout. I have one specifically for GETJR. There we go. That's my graph layout. I can set up whatever graph layouts that I want within the software. So now, even though I like Tesla, you always got to determine, is it the right time to buy? All right. No matter what the news says, we analyzed it. I analyzed it. I like it. Now I need to make sure by way of the graph if it's the right time to get in. Let's do this. I'm going to draw a level of support. Look at that. Beautiful level of support. The stock is sitting a little bit in a channel. Right now, the stock's price is currently below the 20-day exponential moving average and at a level of support sitting at 781.93. For those people who own the stock, I am going to say if the stock's price goes and breaks out of the channel to below 781.93, you might seriously want to think about taking your profits off the table. All right. Now, as a trader, I can use this channel to make money, retracing from resistance. Play the stock to the downside, bouncing off support, play the stock to the upside, and back and forth. This is more of a trader stock right now, not a trending stock. So if you're a little bit more aggressive, you can trade this stock within the channel. But if I'm a longer-term investor looking to swing trade, hold stocks for a couple of days to a couple of weeks, the stock is currently under this 20-day exponential moving average. Notice that over the last 3 months, it really served as a good level of support as the stock's price was moving up. Glenn, where is your indicator that is go get it? For me, I'm going to say that it needs to take out the most recent high, which created that level of resistance. Remember, I always want to buy as a stock's price is rising. I want to put the high probability that the stock should continue doing what I want it to do. Always buy as a stock is rising. If I want to be more aggressive, I could play the bounce off support, but I would use that level of resistance as my level of price target. All right, so that's Tesla. Let's go. Wow. As much as I like Jinko Solar, it is a little bit more volatile. I will not deny that. Question came up as to why is Jinko Solar a hold? With the choppiness of the stock, it makes it tough to get and hold a buy recommendation. I do see a solid level of resistance sitting at 76.15. Would love to see the stock take out that price. RT keeps manipulating above and below the value of 1, showing uptrend, downtrend, uptrend, downtrend. That makes sense as the stock is a little bit more volatile. I would wait on this. If I own the stock, this is my line in the sand, getting out at that level of support at 56.67. It has done a good job maintaining that level over the last 3 months. Plug, I like, but what is it doing? The stock graph doesn't lie. It is moving. It's like Shakira's hips. It doesn't lie. You know, so I like that. It's like Shakira's hips. Anyway, the stock is moving sideways. You know what I do like about it? If I'm using the 20-day exponential moving average, how about it did a great job of saying, be okay, sit still, let the trade come to you. Once it breaks below that 20-day exponential moving average, you might want to take some of your profit off the table, all right? Definitely, right? Because once it breaks below this, from a technical standpoint, it's going to have a high probability of continue to fall down. Notice that the relative timing on the stock is trending down. It's losing steam, it's losing momentum, and volume is All right. My next stock I have in here is NEO. I still think that Tesla is the big boy NIO is chasing after. It is also sitting in a channel, but at least NIO right now is still above the 20-day exponential moving average, down for 2 days in a row. And look at the wicks, the big wicks at the top of the candle, selling pressure, still above the 20-day and still above that level of support at 54.29. You've got a couple of ways to manage this trade and not give back a lot of money, or learning how to mitigate loss if you own it. If I'm going to get into it, I definitely want to see the stock take out that high. Next stock in the list is iClean. I like this industry. I think I want to call this a bull flag. I see it trending lower, and I like the flag. Where is from the high to the low? My flagpole, somewhere between here and here. I'm going to do this. Freehand line from here to here. That's my flagpole. When you get an opportunity, and it's going to be said here, when this stock breaks out of this channel, if it does, you got that much space. Actually, let's do it this way. I just made it vertical. That's my bounce up to the stock once it starts moving back up. I can't see the top of the graph. Let's go see if I put this on a 1-year graph, 5-year graph. There's my flagpole. That's my anticipated move on that stock if it breaks out of the channel. If it breaks out of the channel, this stock has the propensity. It really does. End of day, 3 months, it's going to have the propensity to go up nicely. But first, it's got to break out of this flag formation. All right. And again, Ron, as I made mention earlier, I will take a look at some of your individual stocks. But with the amount of time that I have, I only have a few stocks to look at. Solar and wind is out there. I tried to be a little bit more diverse in the stocks that I gave you today. I did one on electric vehicles, I did one on solar, and I did one on hydrogen. So I tried to be a little bit more diverse today, Ron, in this space. All right, anybody have any questions? Can VectorVest software show me which stocks iClean are holding? And I had to Google it. And iClean holds 30 stocks, some of which are ENPH, that is in that list. I think Fuel Cell is in that list. I had to Google it, Leonardo, and that's how I found it. I printed it, but I only needed it for the hot stock panel. Then I tossed it. But you can Google what stocks are held in iClean to give you a list. And I do know that it's 30 stocks that are held in that ETF. All right. Any other questions? Tesla also below the 3 and the 8, says Paul. Again, when we looked at Tesla, all I'm saying is just be careful with it. I didn't put the 3 and the 8. I used the 3 and the 8 more so for our jockey club, our trading room. I like using the 20-day exponential moving average for the group of people that are in here from a swing trade perspective. Oil prices need demand. That's my answer to oil. And because we stopped drilling as much, demand is going to pop up. I did a story on oil last week. All right, crypto. Yeah, I did an oil story last week. If you want to keep on top of what industries are moving, I try to spread out my stories week over week. Last week in the Trending Thursday, we did an oil story, Dutch boy. So just keep that out there. You need to watch those. If you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon, you will be alerted to all of the new stories that come up. All right, effective clean energy progress in oil patch. I'm not sure what you're asking me, Curious. You got to ask that a little differently. All right, let's go to my next story. What are we getting into? Oh, this is hot and heavy. Yeah. All right, everybody knows that Reddit was pushing marijuana stocks, and they went up pre-market. And again, I did a pre-market story on Sundial this morning, which was one of the stocks. I did a mid-market story on the stock, and after this presentation, I will do a closing story on Sundial. But betting on Biden, Reddit fuels fresh surge in cannabis stocks. I think that with the current administration that we have, they are looking or going towards the goal of decriminalizing marijuana. And just like I talked about the same administration with clean energy, those are two hot industries that you guys really need to pay attention to. Clean energy and marijuana stocks. So as I go down, shares North American cannabis firms were heading for new highs on Thursday, and that was pre-market. And I did show again Sundial what it was looking like pre-market. My guidance by way of the information and the data was saying to be careful, and that was in pre-market activity. The stock looked kind of ratchet in the mid-market, and again, we'll take a look at it now and see what it's done. But Tilray and Sundial growers, which have already doubled in value so far this week, were up 6 and 50%. Sundial, I came in this morning and Sundial just was like, woo! All right, respectively in U.S. pre-market trading as European retail investors piled into the rally. Participants on the Wall Street Bets Forum or Reddit, which inspired price spike in GME, and AMC is not up here as well, earlier this year that squeezed out Wall Street short sellers who had bet on a price fall have turned attention to U.S. and Canadian cannabis firms. I need to put that out there because I think it's important. I'm all for the retail investor. I'll put that out there. I'm a retail investor. Joey is a retail investor. All right, but I have the power of the VectorVest software to help me make a decision and not to be blindly led by a group of people pushing a stock. Because inadvertently or on purpose, people who are not savvy in the market get in, they don't know when to get out, and they keep hearing the chatter, and they're going to get hurt. Now, interesting, when I look at stocks like Sundial and AMC and GME and stocks like that, I look at my kids. My kids get into the stock market. My daughter lets me know that, yeah, Dad, I traded some Nokia, I traded some AMC, but the next statement she said is what made the difference. I used play money for that. That was right on point. I see her trading accounts. She does very well in the market. And I'm proud to say that a little bit of what she has done, she's learned from me, but a lot of it, she's done her own homework. But when you have a group of people pushing a stock up higher without the stock being able to hold or maintain that level because it's not making money, it's fundamentally not sound, those are the things that you do your homework for to make sure that you're buying into the right stock at the right time. So I say that because there's a lot of people out there, and this is the big news. This is the big news out there, is that people like Reddit and Wall Street Bets are pushing stock price higher. Who's making the money? The people who are in way early and saying, come on, let's go push this price up. They do it on the backs of the novice investor. And the novice investor is the one that holds the bag when the stock goes down, because the people who were in early close them out. That's all I got to say about that. All right, that's all I got to say about that. And for anybody who thinks that I'm against the retail investor, you are far, far away from the truth. My job, again, is not to tell you what you want to hear, but to tell you what you need to hear. I know, Paul, I'm going to get to that. All right, so that was about the story specifically with Sundial, but this is big too. A $72 billion blockbuster deal puts medical cannabis sector in the spotlight, and that's because GWPH got bought by Jazz Pharmaceuticals. The acquisition announced last week is the biggest takeover in the marijuana industry and could have wide implications for the growing cannabinoid-based medication sector. This is big because it puts cannabis stocks out there. And when something like this happens, the whole industry moves. All right, now, I'm going to talk about a stock that may not be nearly as widely known unless you are part of our jockey club. Steve talked about it this morning, and I know he talked about that I would talk about it today. The stock is known as MJNA. Now, I want to let you know that it is a stock to just keep your eyes on. All right, medical marijuana investment company, Axum, investment company, biotech files for patents for the world's first face mask designed to capture SARS-CoV-2 or COVID-19. The mask to capture it and kill it. Now, this story was done a while ago, but I'm bringing it to the forefront because MJNA is a stock that's rocking and rolling in the medical marijuana space. But I think it's a little known story that the stock has a company, bought a company, Axum, this little company, and as you read more about it, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the demand for their face masks has grown exponentially and is expected to reach $21.2 billion by 2026. So the mask, they filed a final provision patent for the first ever face mask that captures and deactivates COVID, the coronavirus responsible for the ongoing COVID-19. This is why, I know, I got you, Ninja. This is why I'm bringing this to the forefront from that stock. We're going to take a look at that stock. All right, we're going to take a look at that stock. So let's go look at our marijuana stocks. All right, a lot of people say, but it's rolling down today. I want to show you something. Where's my marijuana stocks? Sundial, there's Jazz that bought GWPH, and MJNA, medical marijuana. Big move to the downside on MJNA. But the stock, just for the purposes of understanding, that stock bought at about 2 cents, made me about 500, 600% on the stock. Now, why did I buy such a low dollar stock, a 2 cent stock? Because even at the point in time when the stock was 2 cents, this VectorVest indicator was above the value of 1. It was at 1.05 as a 2 cent stock. That stock, again, for me, went up in excess of 500% in about 2 months worth of time. The power of the VectorVest software is so incredibly awesome to find a stock like that. Now, are there many stocks that are in the software that way? No. When I find a stock that's that cheap with a relative value above 1, it catches my attention. Now, it's not that we tout penny stocks, but this is a penny stock with that relative value above 1 in an industry that's rocking and rolling because the possible decriminalization of marijuana is in place. That's a way to make some money in the market. And you know something? I'm not going to get a group of people and say, hey, let's go buy into it and raise the price higher. I want you to know why you would consider that stock. Now, the other side of the coin is if a stock that low is not a stock that you would be interested in, bypass the story. Plain and simple. But for those of you who are looking for an opportunity, it may be there. Today ain't the day to buy it. Not only that, a 2 cent stock, well, now 11 cent stock with an RV above 1, with an earnings growth rate of 22%. Man, this just keeps getting better and better as a high probability of a stock to get out. And the answer to your question, Axel, is no. I took a big hit on it this morning and still got out at about 400% gain. I still got out at about a 400% gain. I learned that, one thing you never want to do, never lose more than half of what you've made. Never lose more than half of what you've made. Ron says, is MJNA even a marijuana stock? Looking at what it does, it sells hemp-based oil, which is not marijuana. It's in the medical marijuana industry. What is medical marijuana? Some of the medical marijuana is the stuff that you smoke, but some of it is in the cannabinoid space. So yes, it's still in that space, Ron. Yes, it is. All right, let's go analyze the stock. Sundial, man, trading at $258 with a 22 cent value. way overvalued. Jazz with the big takeover, there you go. I like it now. The stock's price is trading at 165 with a value of 219. That's an undervalued stock, a stock that took over a company that is undervalued. That's two good things. Medical marijuana, MJNA, is right at that value of being what we call fairly valued for a penny stock. Think about that. Fairly valued for a penny stock. Relative value on Sundial, not there. The stock does not have upside potential right now. But people are saying, hey, let's go buy it. And this is doing your homework. All right, stock's overvalued, relative value, doesn't have it. It is a risky stock with relative safety below 1. But what's making it, what's a good thing about it? From a trade perspective, it's moving. Is the company making money? No. Are they growing their earnings in a positive fashion? No. Sundial becomes more of a trade and not a longer-term investment. Jazz, relative value above 1. It's got good upside potential. Is it safe? Yes. Is it moving up in price? Yes. Does it have positive earnings? Yes. And they grow their earnings at a clip of 8% a year. This is a stock that I'd rather hold on to. And this is a stock, Sundial, that I would rather to trade. Look at the overall VST. It's above 1, but that's because relative value is above 1 on MJNA, and the stock is in an uptrend. And it's growing their earnings at a clip of 22%. Again, this is a penny stock that's got a lot of good things behind it. You know why the stock is down today? Because people like me made a lot of money in it. People are taking their profits. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you were in the stock, you have your stops in place. It keeps you from getting killed on a day when it went down 31%. That's it in a nutshell. Let's go take a look at the graphs. All right, let's take a look at the graphs. There's Sundial. So I did the early morning look at Sundial, and I want you to pay attention to this. This is a pattern known as a dark cloud cover, where the candle today eclipses the close of business yesterday. And if the candle today falls further than halfway down the candle, it is a bearish candlestick pattern. Look at the wick at the bottom. Earlier today, it was there as saying, we got some buying pressure. Today is the highest volume day on the last 3 months. What is that volume? Telling me that there was sellers. There was a lot of sellers on the stock right now. Big candle down. So the news pushed it up. It gapped up to the high of 396. When it closed yesterday, let's talk about that. When it closed yesterday, it closed at a value of about 294. Went up to 396. That's a buck move. What do you think was going to happen? As the stock's price has been moving, that was profit taken. People say, I made my money, I'm getting out. So even on a longer term basis, if you say, yeah, I still want to hold the stock, well, here's your line in the sand, that 20-day exponential moving average. If it falls below that, you got to give up a lot, though, for it to fall below that. But if it falls below that, that's probably a good time to get out. The 20-day exponential moving average right now is sitting at $1.27. Do you want to go all the way down to $1.27, or do you want to take profits off the table? All right. Easy to get back in at 11%, 11 cents for sure. Absolutely, William. I like that MJNA. And if it's not the right time for me to be in it, I'll wait. Oh, yeah, I'll wait. I know the potential behind a stock that's that low in price. The VectorVest software is telling me that it's got a relative value above 1. It's got positive earnings, and they're growing their earnings at 22% a year on a penny stock. Oh, yeah. I will get back into this stock, definitely. Absolutely. But I got to know, just like the gambler song, you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and know when to run. I now utilize the power of technical analysis to help me to know how to mitigate losses. That's the other side of making money it's holding on to your money. Doesn't SDNL have $600 million in cash? Should be 40-cent value on loan with a 1.5 billion shares. So Mark, it does have, and Steve talked about that probably this morning in the Jockey Club. It's got a lot of money. All right, should be 40-cent value on that alone. With listen, remember, our value looks at earnings. It looks at earnings per share, but there's a lot in the secret sauce behind value. There's a lot in the secret sauce behind value that I don't know. All right, that I don't know. All right, so all I'm telling you, you say you just bought I wouldn't listen. What did I say, Gerald? Always buy a stock on a rising day. I'd rather you buy on a day that it's rising than on a day that it's moving down. Now, a lot of you will say, well, I bought low. All right, that's true. But how low is low? And that's what we don't know. Could it go lower? It sure could. And then are you setting yourself up for early failure? You could be. I like the idea of buying low and selling high, but I'd rather buy as a stock is rising. I don't want to try to catch a falling knife. All right. Jay is asking the question because Gerald said he bought 10. I am going to say I'd rather wait because it's going down. How much lower can it go? You don't know. I would rather to wait. You know something, if you want to be a little bit more aggressive, let me help you out right there. If you want to be a little bit more aggressive, there's the previous day's low right there. I'm going to use that as a beautiful level of support. If you're thinking about when to get back in from a super aggressive standpoint, let's see it bounce off that level of support first. That's how I would trade it. Does everybody in the room understand that? Type a yes or a no in the room, because I'm getting the questions about, because it's moving back down, is this a good time to buy? Let me give you that tidbit of information. Use this level of 10 cents as a good level of support. Let it bounce off of that if you want to be super aggressive. If you want to give the stock a little bit more room and more confirmation, buy higher than the high. I've now set you up both ways. Now, what happens if the stock's price breaks below and keeps falling down? You kept your powder dry, folks. You kept your powder dry. All right, so there you go. All right, that's all my stories today. Whew! That's all my stories today. For those people who are brand new, I'm going to ask a question. For those people who are brand new, did you find this useful? Yes or no? And if you say no, I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I can handle that. But the new people in the room, did you find this useful? All right. If you did, yes. If you didn't, type a no. For those people who have not subscribed to our channel yet, I'm inviting you to sign up for subscribe to the channel, folks. Subscribe to the channel. If you like the content today, please hit the like button. How many likes do we have today, Joey?
88.
88? How many people we got in the room? We got 280 and we only got 88 likes. Wow. All right, if you didn't like it enough to hit the like button, that's up to you. I'm asking you to. All I can do is ask. If you really felt that this was worth it for you to be here today, hit the like button. And again, as I asked, please subscribe to the channel. All right, can you recap on what exactly is considered support and resistance? Arif, support is a floor. Think about it as you're in a room like I'm in right now. Support keeps me from falling down. If I could jump through the ceiling is resistance. It keeps me from going, it resists me from going higher than the ceiling. That is the easiest way to explain support and resistance. All right, so there you go. All right. So here we go. I'm going to say it out loud. All right, now we're going to start looking at your stocks. You did not cover TNXP. Those were stocks I'm going to do an individual video on, Mukesh. Clay put those into there, didn't he? He put those two stocks. All right, those are stories that I'm going to do as individual videos on TNXP and on Palantir. All right, Joey.
MXL.
Say again?
MXL.
MXL.
ATEN.
ATEN.
UIS.
UIS. I'm going to put I'm not going to do Sundown. We already looked at Sundown.
Yeah, NVIDIA.
NVDA. That's a good stock to look at. I'm also going to put AMD. Go ahead.
PBW.
PBW?
Yes, sir.
PBW. Is that a beer? Okay. Hey, yeah.
PBR is a beer.
PBR is the beer. Okay.
CLF.
CLF Cleveland. Yep.
GRWG.
Grow, GRWG. That's a great stock in the space of marijuana.
NEPT.
NEPT.
MU.
Micron. DQ, the solar company, DAQ New Energy.
FSLR.
First Solar. That's another good stock in clean energy. MGNI. ON. That's it? Yeah.
NAKD.
Naked. That's another Reddit stock. ACTG. IIVI. Okay. HZO. All right. There's my stocks. Joey or the bot will put a link in the chat for you that if there's any stocks that you want to get a free stock analysis on, that you can get free from VectorVest. I know it does same thing for me, John. Every time I look at DQ, I think about Dairy Queen.
Is it not Dairy Queen?
It's not Dairy Queen. No. All right. Putting my stocks on a 3-month graph. What setup? I want to use my swing trade setup where I have, again, support resistance. I also have a 20-day exponential moving average. I have RT showing you if VectorVest says that it's in an uptrend or not. And, of course, volume. Volume is conviction. MXL, the stock pulled back from the high, found a level of support sitting at $30.44. You know what would have been a good opportunity to buy? On an open candle when the stock's price bounced off support and cleared the 20-day exponential moving average, which happened yesterday. And I've got more follow through today. So I do like that. Not only did you get the follow through, it broke through another level of resistance sitting at 34.98. If you own it, leave it alone. This is probably going to be my profit target sitting at 38.70. At that point, I can do one of two things. I could take half off the table or take it all off the table and capture my profits. If I take half off the table, I've locked in some profits coming off of this level. And if it breaks through, I still have more money. I still have some skin in the game. All right, so let's go to the next one. Ooh, ATEN, big pullback. Don't know if that was news-driven or not, but the stock was riding that 20-day exponential moving average, hit a new high 2 days ago, fell yesterday, broke below the 20-day exponential moving average. Now, as much as I talk about using stops, I don't have a stop that protects you against gap downs. Not at all. Not at all. That's a big hurt and follow through. If you still own it, you got to consider to yourself, let me give you a line in the sand. If you still own it, you haven't gotten out of it, this is my line in the sand for you sitting at about 888. That's a lot more to give up. Or the stock's price is currently below the 20-day and look at the selling pressure picking up. Not only is the stock going down, but the selling pressure is picking up. You need to make a decision of knowing when enough is enough. That's another part about holding a stock that's going down. You as your own individual investor self need to know when enough is enough. Not that somebody's telling you, well, it's going down, buy more. Why? All right? If you like the stock long term, wait for a better buying opportunity, but don't give back all of the money that you've made. And always limit how much money you're going to lose on a trade. That's part of planning your trades and trading your plan. All right. I love this stock. There's nothing bad that I can say about it. Relative value, not above one. Fundamentally, the stock is not there, but technically, I can't ignore the tape. Bottom left, top right, moving. Now, even though I don't like the fundamentals on the stock, from a trade perspective, that 20-day exponential moving average is doing a great job of keeping you in the stock. Fundamentally, I'm not feeling it. But technically, for all 3 months, this stock has stayed above that 20-day. There's no ifs, and even on the pullback, stayed above, pulled back, staying above. Right now, let's go see if it pulls back again and stays above. I like using the 20-day exponential moving average to manage this trade. I like this stock. I'm going to give you a hand clap for that. That's a good looking stock. RT is telling you the stock's in an uptrend. I like that stock. I like that stock. I cannot lie. What you did? Stop dancing. All right. NVIDIA. I think that with the shortage of chips, and someone said it was a shortage of manufacturing of chips, nonetheless, there's going to be a demand for it. I like NVIDIA at this particular point in time. Moving up on good volume, look at the move. The stock is picking up steam and momentum, breaking through 2 levels of resistance, running. If I'm not in the stock, I try to look to buy it higher. If I'm in the stock, here's your line in the sand to get out of the stock. Level of support sitting at 558.56. All right, I would not wait all the way down to the stock getting out of the 20 exponential. You're going to give back too much money. I like this stock. You know what I like even more? Look at the stock on an end-of-day basis. Look for the day where the stock's price closes lower than the previous day's low. I like that. I like that stock right now. All right, and I think with the demand of chips, the demand for chips, this stock is poised to move higher. AMD, not nearly as much. I like the NVIDIA trade a little bit more. All right, the AMD side of the fence, it's moving sideways, not moving as robustly as the NVIDIA trade. All right, so if I had to choose between two, I would go with NVIDIA more so than AMD, but I still think that AMD should pick up as well. Fundamentally, it's sound. It is in an uptrend, but I think that the NVIDIA trade is more on the move. PBR, PowerShells. Did I say PBR? I did say PBR. Man, do I have beer on the brain or something? PBW, nicely moving higher. Love the pullbacks to either support or that 20-day exponential moving average. How about here? It broke through the 20-day, but hit a level of support. Man, put those two things together could be a very powerful tool to aid in your ability to manage a trade. And I think that that is so important. Manage the trade and don't... I can't keep getting away from this. You don't let nobody talk to you about buy more or any of that stuff. Do your own work. Look at the technicals to help you to make a decision. I like this stock. NVIDIA has been in a base for a long time. What does average true range mean? Leonardo, average true range looks at the range over a time period. And let's say over the last 10 days, a stock has got a range of $1. Okay, that's your average true range. So on any given day, it moves up or down about $1. I can use that as normal price action. I can use it for a stop when I go 2 times that range. It tells me that this stock is way outside of its norm, whether it's to the upside or to the downside, and can use it to lock in profits or mitigate loss. All right, so that's what the average true range is. Glenn is thirsty. I'm not thirsty. What are you trying to tell me? You trying to tell me something? Is that sarcastic?
I'm saying PBR.
No, it's PBR. Oh, okay.
That's what all them beers are for.
That's what all them beers are for? All right. I've never even drank PBR, ever. All right, so let's go to my next stock. Apps, another good stock, pulling back right now. That's all right. If you own it right now, leave it alone. I'm going to give you a line in the sand. See that gap? Wow, that's a beautiful gap, but it was a beautiful level of prior resistance sitting at $70.68. That's your line in the sand. Couple that with the 20-day exponential moving average. Don't panic. Stop panicking when the stock goes down. Use the power of technical analysis to help you manage a trade. You're welcome, Leonardo. All right, so right now, apps hit a new high a couple of days ago, just pulling back now. That's just the move of the market. All right. Don't panic. Let your stops manage the trade. Cleveland Cliff was moving up nicely, fell, moving sideways. Again, a moving average doesn't help you when a stock is moving sideways. A little bounceation, that's a Glenism, a little bounceation around that 20-day exponential moving average. I don't have a lot to say to jump on board with it yet, not until it takes out the high. I like to bounce off of the 20-day, but even with that, I've got a little short-term level of resistance right there. Let's see if it can get above 1734. But even if it does that, it still has to get above this level of the high at 1877. Right now, it's doing a little bit of a sideways mumbo. All right, RT still shows that it's up, and volume is up there as well. Just be careful. I really need to see the movement on the stock. TAN is a good stock, by the way, Ghislaine. TAN is a good stock. PBW and TAN, I like TAN as a look at the whole industry as well. TAM. Woo, this is marijuana stocks. All right. Beautiful looking equity curve up until yesterday and today. But you know what's good about this? It's still above the 20-day exponential moving average. A big pullback, but if you feel really strong, and I do feel strong on the marijuana stocks, if you feel real strong, let that 20-day work it in. All right, let it hold. And if it breaks down below it, you might want to think about taking your profits off the table. All right, you might want to think about that. All right, let's go to the next one. Neptune Wellness, another marijuana stock. I don't know much about it, but it's feeling the same effect as a lot of the stocks in the space today. It almost fully faded the end of day gap. That would be my line in the sand if I own it. And notice that the wick today touched that level of about $2.63, but look at the rebound back off of that. I love using support and resistance as either confirmation or helps to guide me on what to do with a stock. All right. Next stock, MU, another in the semiconductor space. I forgot all about that. So that's NVIDIA, that's AMD, and now MU. That one I like, just like the NVIDIA trade. MU and NVIDIA, I like the more out of those besides NVDA. So AMD and MU in this space I like. And I like that MU is about to breach that level of resistance nicely above the 20-day exponential moving average. Big volume pickup today as compared to the previous days. Let's go to the next one, DQ, Dairy Queen. The stock's price is moving up. How about the pullback to a level of support stayed above the 20-day exponential moving average? Even with the pullback, the stock is still currently above the 20-day exponential moving average. I'm going to give you a line in the sand sitting right about here. That's a good level of support sitting at about 108.38. That's $10, though. Do you really want to give up $10 on the move? All right, maybe I use that, but if I do that, it gets you out today. If I use that as a level of resistance, current level of support, you would have actually gotten out yesterday, and you might have been happy with that. You might have been happy with that. At some point in time, I cannot give a real solid level of line in the sand. You got to make a decision on what you want to do. But from an end of the day perspective, the stock is above that level of the 20-day exponential moving average. And QCLN is another good stock to use for the clean energy field. First Solar, I like Jinko Solar a little bit more, but notice that both of them are in that little sideways move, and they're both in a channel, but both of them are solar. I still think that the whole industry, as we can see, is on the rise. These are stocks to keep your eyes on. Definitely stocks to keep your eyes on. But right now, the stock is moving in sideways in a channel. MGNI, I like the stock. Clearly above the 20-day. Did bounce below for a little bit, and then look at that. Took back off. Stock's moving sideways right now. Would love to see it take out that level of the high if I'm new to the stock. If I currently own the stock, I'm going to give you a line in the sand. See that gap? See that gap that happened about a week ago? That would be my line in the sand, about $49. Once you go back below and fade a gap, that's probably showing you the end of an upward move on the stock. Now, it's not there yet. And if I'm new to the stock, I love the equity curve over the last 3 months. I would seriously think about buying higher than the high. Let's go to the next one. On. Whew, I like this. It did dip below the 20-day exponential moving average. Now, this is to go against an argument of, man, if you would have gotten out of that, you would have missed all of that move. All right, guess what? If I would have gotten out of it and I was somewhere back here, would I have been happy taking my gain off the table? Who's to say that it wouldn't have gone lower than that, right? And that's because we can't depict which way the market is definitely going to go. I can only take what the market gives me. It had gone down for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days in a row. that would have been a great opportunity to take the money off the table. And if I really liked it, then you know something, I could have bought in right here when it went back above the 20 with a price of $36.71, and right now it's at $40.49. Folks, that's the way to invest in a stock. Take your profit off the table when the stock price tells you to. And if you really like the stock, get back in it when it gives you an opportunity and you're still making money. How about that? How about that? You never go broke taking a profit. Absolutely, Ron. All right. Naked. This is another Reddit stock. It is currently now, as I look at a lot of the Reddit stocks that are out there, this one is still clearly above the 20-day. It never, even on the pullback, never fell below the 20-day. So even as a Reddit stock, if you're in it, you know something, I can't deny that it did a good job of keeping you in the stock and possibly getting you back on board to making money again. That 20-day exponential moving average did a really good job of not spooking you out, whereas stocks like GME and AMC and Nokia and some of those other stocks did pierce that 20-day exponential moving average. Interesting, huh? So this is a Reddit stock that I can say, I'm okay with. I'd like to see more volume. Notice that over the last 2 days, though, volume has picked back up. This is one of the only stocks that I've seen in that Reddit space that is actually still trading above the 20-day exponential moving average. Think about that. Ta-da! Can you use your 20-day moving average as a line in the sand? Absolutely. I'm actually giving you a couple of things to look at to help you to manage the trade. All right? Look at the 20-day exponential moving average. Look at the level of support. Use them both. Use them both. All right? Let's go to the next stock. ACTG. I like it. Nicely above the 20-day exponential moving average. Volume, for the most part, with the exception of today, is above the average volume. So I've got conviction behind the move. A down day today, but nothing telling me to get all scared about. All right? Every stock has a down day. At $7.88, leave it be. If you want to get, I'm going to give you a line in the sand. How about this level of former resistance right about here? That's a good level, sitting at about $7.66. I like that. And you know something? If it drops below that, you can get out of the stock, capture your profit, more so than trying to wait down to the 20-day exponential moving average. So Leonardo, why not, if you have an opportunity, get out even earlier than the 20-day? I don't understand the concept of average true range. Also, why 14 days? May we have analysis example? No, I won't do that here, JP. How about this? If you want to learn more about the average true range, go to this website, www.investopedia.com. That's what I'm going to tell you to do, JP, because I won't cover it here. I'm already longer than the time that I should be here. What graph layout do you have on the screen? And again, I'm looking at a 20-day exponential moving average. I'm looking at relative timing. I do have support and resistance. There's my resistance line. And I have volume with a moving average of volume. That's what I'm looking at. All right. Next stock. I like this stock too. Definitely moving higher above the 20-day. And you know something? It goes back to that same argument. Man, I got out and I missed all of this. No, you didn't. You got out, took your profit from the trade, and wait for another buying opportunity, which would have happened the next day. Boom. And you're still in it. I would rather you learn to take profit, get out, but now I bought higher. Well, did you really buy higher if you're playing somewhat with the bank's money because of the profits that you took here? Think about that. All right, just think about that. RT is rising. I like that as the stock's price. If I'm not in it, I'd like to hit higher than the high. If you are in it, leave it alone. Leave it alone. All right, and the last stock for the day is HZO, Marine Max. Woo, the stock is above the 20-day exponential moving average, but pulling off of the high. If you're in it, leave it alone. I would wait for, if you haven't gotten out of it after these days of pulling back, well, there's your line in the sand. Notice the wicks, the bottom of the candle, keep touching right on that level of the 20-day. It's serving as a good level of support. All right, if it breaks down below, if it closes below that level, you might want to think about taking your profits off the table. Or you do have a line in the sand, which is sitting at this level of support of 39.98. With that, folks, I'm done. Do you use 20 EMS on 1 hour or daily candles? I'm using them all on daily candles, not on 1 hour. When I look at an intraday, the most amount of time that I'm looking at on intraday is 5-minute bars. All right, Glenn, you should pick the winner stock of a list and a winner to get a free mug. No. All right. Do you feel the stock with rising volume is a good indicator? How important is rising volume? Bill, for me, volume is conviction. So if I'm looking to get into a stock, I really want to see a stock not only going up, but going up with volume. That means people are as interested as I am. And if I've got that many people interested in the stock, it should continue to move the stock's price higher. I have searches that look for a stock's average, for a stock to be trading higher than its normal average volume. I think that that's a very powerful search, powerful part of a search. All right. With that, folks, thank you for being here. I do want to, as I continue to put videos out, I want you guys to know that as you watch them, whether they're recorded or they're live, my job is to teach you how to make money in the market responsibly. I will not back down for that, and I tell you why. Because as an employee of this company, knowing that we are only here based on your subscription, I've got a vested interest in everyone that I teach. Because if you don't have a subscription to the software, we don't have a job. So I am not going to tell you what you want to hear. I will always tell you what you need to hear. And if that's the kind of information you want, subscribe to the channel. If that's the kind of information that you like hearing, if you like the content today, don't forget to hit the like button. How many likes do we have so far, Joey? 142. Well, I'll take it. Can I get to 150 before we leave? Can I get to 150 before we leave? Let's see if we can get to 150 before we leave. All right. So as I sign off, support the channel. Okay. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon so that you can be alerted to when new stuff comes up, whether it's an individual video or a live stream. Hit the bell icon. And we got 152. Way to go, folks. Thank you. All right. With that, adios, arrivederci, ciao, au revoir, sayonara, aloha for all my people in here from Hawaii, not from Ohio, from Hawaii. I've got a group of people who follow me on Facebook, who watch the presentations as well. So I want to say hello, give a shout out to that group of people in Hawaii. Salam, shalom, namaste. Have a great day, folks. Peace. We're out of here.